Yes, Sir Hairless here. This will be my second time hearing Evanescence. It's a song from 2003 called Bring Me to Life. Very famous song, as I've been told many times in the comments. It's got over 1.5 billion views on YouTube. My first time hearing this band was their song My Immortal. You can find my video on that in the pinned comment if you're interested. And after I did that video, I put out a poll over on Patreon, which Evanescence song to do next, and this one won. So here we are. The lyrics are on the screen now. They're very intense, especially the opening couple of lines. Just like with My Immortal, I feel they're kind of open to interpretation. I'm extremely curious to see how they are set to music. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And I will be doing some analysis, giving my thoughts, and pausing for copyright reasons. If any of those things will annoy you, this is your chance to stop watching. So if you comment, oh, why are you pausing? I will call you a silly Billy. CGI.
How can you see into my eyes like open doors, leading you down into my core, where I become so numb.
I think I've heard this song before.
Spirit sleeping somewhere cold until you find it there and leave it back home. Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. Call my name and save me from the dark. Bid my blood to run before I come undone. Save me from the nothing I've become.
Yeah, I recognize this song. I've definitely heard it before, and my suspicion of where I've heard it or why I've heard it is probably not what you'd expect. Just before the chorus, there was this long pause, which really threw me off. I was then extremely confused because I thought I definitely heard the verse. I had the chorus coming in my head, but this pause, yeah, it just threw me off. Is this pause, by the way, because it's very fitting with the video, a very interesting video as well from 2003, a lot of CGI for back then. And we're hearing the sound effects, the sirens going through the streets. Are they present in the studio version of this song for anyone who might have bought this on CD or whatnot back in the day? Anyway, why I have heard this song before. I'm going to quickly need to do a couple of minutes of investigating something, so be right back. Right. I used to play a video game. I was introduced to it in 2005 and I played it for many years, but the prime playing time when we were much younger was probably 2005 to 2010 or so. And back then, don't ask me why, they would make music videos, but using footage of the game. So I've just found this video, here we are, uploaded 17 years ago, only 1,900 views.
Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. Call my name and save me from the dark.
But this is just one of many such videos I think I've seen. It's funny how music just unlocks these memories. I always say music is the most powerful tool for nostalgia, at least for me. And sometimes you just hear a song and you're transported back in time. It may, of course, be the case that I've heard this song elsewhere, but I'm not sure where I would have. None of my friends or family know the band or listen to them. I did ask after I did my first video, and I didn't really listen to the radio much growing up. Anyway, enough speculation. Very interesting. Let's carry on. I have definitely not heard this song in many, many years. I remember the chorus, not the rest of the verses. And I'm also intrigued because I've been told about an interview with Amy Lee, the singer, which I've got ready to watch after this reaction. It's called Evanescence Didn't Want a Rapper on Bring Me to Life. So I'm expecting a rap section. I don't really remember one. So after the reaction and analysis video, which is this one on YouTube, we'll go and watch that interview, and my full video, including that interview, you can find down below in the pinned comment. If you're interested, of course. All right, let's carry on with this one.
You can just leave me
Just a quick point on the video here. In My Immortal, I received a lot of comments saying that basically Amy Lee is a ghost or an apparition, and if we notice her feet never actually touch the floor, I'm noticing a similar thing here, much more obvious because she's very nonchalantly climbing, walking around the edge of these high-rise buildings. I am deadly scared of heights, 2 or 3 floors up, and I'll paralyze myself, so fair play to her for doing that. Yes, I am choosing to believe it's not CGI. Very interesting video all round, and when she was in this apartment, or walking past the window rather, really ghostly. It just looks like a ghost. So I'm wondering if this is a theme present in all or in some or in most of their videos. Also her ghostly night dress attire. I imagine this is very much intentional. So yeah, very curious about that. Do let me know, please, Evanescence fans, if this is something that is apparent in all their videos. Very interesting video, very different. At the time, it must have been super cool as well. All right, let's carry on. Amy Lee, the pro climber. Oh, it's pretty intense, isn't it? The video, the song, the music. And it's super interesting because we have almost these screamo elements in there. We do get screaming in the background. We've heard it a few times, but the volume's turned way down so we can barely hear it. And it's this contrast of ideas, some really heavy musical elements in there, but also some of the opposite, a lot of lighter musical stylistic choices as well. Makes a really interesting sound. I don't think I've ever heard the second half of this song, to be honest. I don't recognize what we're hearing now. And also, I'm still looking out for that rap section. Was that it that we just heard? Because if so, that's not really rapping. Otherwise, is it the, well, I guess the rap at the start of each line of the chorus? Like there. And there. Interesting. Interesting video. Quite literal and not literal. She couldn't be saved. She was singing to be saved. He was also saying be saved. In the introduction, I said the lyrics seem open to interpretation. And one thing that was crossing my mind as I was reading them, you know, we start off, how can you see into my eyes like open doors leading you down into my core? I've become so numb. Perhaps she's talking to a lover or someone she's in a relationship with, and she's saying, wake me up inside, you know, save me from the dark. It's a request. So I'm thinking, okay, she is, you know, asking for help from her other half. But at the same time, we have this line, save me from the nothing I've become, which kind of points towards a very bad relationship, particularly if we're supposed to be taking this literally. Off she goes, hearing the sirens wail. Were the sirens for her in the first place? A kind of ominous foreshadowing. There was no hope for her. Oh, very interesting. Going back to why I've heard this song before, playing a video game when I was pre-teen and very early teen, as were most people playing that game at that time and the ones making those music videos. I don't think at that age people would have been looking into the lyrics or the music quite as much. Well, there we go, Bring Me to Life. I guess it was bound to happen that one of these song requests that I receive I have heard before. I obviously can't listen to them beforehand, so there's no way of me knowing, but I am open when that is the case, as is now. But I don't really recognize the second half. I definitely recognize the opening and the chorus. Well, let's go back through. There were definitely some cool musical things that I'd like to discuss, point out, and I'd like to start with the introduction, with that piano intro. I like the eeriness of it, and definitely a big contributing factor to this eeriness, at least I think so, is the rhythmic ambiguity. We have the left-hand rhythm and the right-hand rhythm being very different to each other. It's almost like they're battling each other, creating these weird syncopations and really just making things seem a bit unstable or unsettling. You know, usually we can rely on rhythms of all things for stability in music. Maybe future Sir Hairless can edit in a little piano clip to try and explain a bit better what exactly we're hearing between the left hand and the right hand here. So this is what we hear. And then on the repeat, a couple of the notes are different, a slight harmonic change, etc. You'll notice the left hand just goes. Each of these notes is a half beat, and there are 4 beats in a bar. So there are 8 of these in each bar, which is clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very much divided into pairs per beat of the bar. The right hand, firstly, comes in on the last beat of the previous bar by itself, which is a little bit strange because then on the strong beat we get, and we're already thrown off a little bit rhythmically. The main focus of the right hand is thinking in terms of threes. So we have, and then from this point onwards, each note is 3 of these. So we've got a contrast of the idea of 2s in the left hand, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, against 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is even more interesting because of how high up the left hand is. You know, this is usually the right hand of a piano piece, not the left hand. So because they're even closer together, their rhythmic battling is even more interesting. So yeah, it's all a bit eerie. We have these sirens. Quite ominous. Nighttime sirens, we think of danger, crime. Again, I'd like to know if these are in the actual studio versions or if they're just for the video.
How can you see into my eyes?
Just like I said when I heard her sing for the first time in My Immortal, I think I used the word piercing, or maybe her voice is a bit like a laser. Quite unique in that sense. Here, it's quite light. She's singing with an airy tone, but it's still just cutting through. It grabs our attention, definitely. And as the song progresses, we get more power coming through, contrast between the female and the male voice. We have these kind of screamo elements coming in the background, and having such a contrast of sounds, especially in the vocals, can be a difficult thing to do, I think, depending on the nature of the song. Some songs really are just a mix of absolutely everything, including harmony. This song isn't, and I'll touch on that in a moment. In the next verse, we have a complete shift as well, not so much in the harmony, but in the instrumentation. We go from the eerie piano to
So numb without a soul.
electric guitar coming in, super rhythmic. Percussion, we've got the drums as well.
My spirit's sleeping somewhere.
And listen to her melody versus the rhythms we're getting in that guitar. Again, they are clashing. They're not matching up, kind of like we saw between the left and the right hand of the piano earlier. What's the effect? Well, I don't know. I guess we all decide for ourselves how that makes us feel. I find it really interesting though, because it feels like things are a little bit off, but it's obviously so intentional. I personally think the whole song is supposed to just be a little bit unsettling. make us go a bit, oh. And then when we finally arrive at the chorus, things all around are a bit more stable, such as the harmony. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. Especially after this wait as well.
Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside.
So we have quite simple chord changes here. We just go from E minor to G major to D major. Let me revoice them so we can see how simple these chord moves are. Then just the one note moves, and now these two just move down. So between these three chords, there's always at least one note that appears in the next chord as well. This results in a very natural, smooth sounding chord progression. It does not need to be complicated. One chord per line is what we're hearing. There is some harmonic interestingness though because of her melody. So she's singing these notes.
Wake me up inside.
And that's in perfect range for her to sing, not delicately in head voice. We've got this quite a chesty blended voice there. Harmony underneath as well in thirds, which then changes for the next line.
Wake me up inside.
Wake me up inside. Dropping down to there. Why does the harmony voice change? Well, it has to fit these changing chords. So let's just play her melody on top of each chord as they come. So firstly, it fits, and then as she moves down, the chord changes, but she's moving to here, creating a clash. So her part of all the parts, the melody is the one that actually brings the dissonance here, the intensity.
Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside.
As for the chords used in the whole song, it might just be easier for me to show you actually. For any guitar players out there, you probably know there are loads of websites that you just Google a song and the chords, and then it will show you. So be right back. Okay, here's one so we can see the verse, the chorus. The verse, we just have these two chords, E minor, A minor, the whole first verse. Then the chorus, we get some new chords in there, but it's still just the three chords I was speaking about. Between the first verse and the chorus, there are only four individual chords, E minor, A minor, G major, and D major. Two minor, two major. Minor chords are sadder sounding, major chords are happier sounding. So there's a 50-50 mix here. Interestingly, the next verse, the second verse, it's also just two chords, but instead of it being E minor and A minor, like we had in the first verse, it's E minor and C major. C major is obviously different from A minor, but they're not so different. Here's C major and here's A minor. Just one note difference between them. This is because those two chords are related to each other. This chart here is called the circle of fifths. All the chords on the outside in the dark green circle are major chords, and all the chords on the inside are minor chords. You'll see that for every major chord, there is a minor chord. And these are called related or relative chords. So for C major, its relative chord or related chord is A minor. You can often and seamlessly replace one major chord, for example, with its relative minor, because they kind of sound the same. There's just one note difference between them. And it could be a good way of subtly shifting from a happier major sound to a sadder minor sound, or vice versa. And now we're getting much more sustained noises in the background. Are they ghosts singing in harmony? Or is it an organ? All the meanwhile, we've still got the very, very rhythmic, disjointed electric guitar constantly playing, as well as the percussion. So all these new ideas are now mixing. They perhaps sound like they shouldn't quite mix, but it works really well. Just like a little counter melody from her coming in, sinking down there. All these little things, there are so many that come for the rest of the song, I just can't point them all out. And then we get this little section where we do now have new chords, new harmony coming in. Very fitting for these lyrics, frozen in time without your touch. If something's frozen in time, it's basically being removed from reality, where time is very much a linear ongoing construct. So I think that's a really good representation for those lyrics. Introduce some new chords that we haven't heard before. If you're curious what those chords are, here they are here underneath the interlude. And then we get the chorus again, and lyricless harmony, and then I've been living a lie. Definitely more rap than singing. Contrast of more melodic but lyricless moment immediately followed by not so melodic but with lyrics. Quite an aggravated sound at the end there, even though everything's fading out and calming down a little bit. We can hear the harmonies becoming a bit more dissonant, more clashy. Notes are being held on, causing dissonances as other notes move. Long sustained notes in the strings there, for example. We can really feel the tension towards the end. And that's what they leave us with when coupled with the video. Very interesting. Well, there we go. Bring Me to Life, Evanescence. I'm now wondering if I know any of their other songs or have heard any of their other songs in similar such game music videos before. I guess only time will tell. So please comment down below other songs you'd like to see me do by them. And once more, now we're going to go and watch that interview with Amy Lee. So if you'd like to watch that as well, head on over to the link in the pinned comment. Thank you, as always, for watching. Would really appreciate a like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.